Thank you for taking the time to consider the impact of our consumption behaviours. 40% of UK emissions are from households, highlighting the importance of our behaviour in contributing to the reduction in climate impacts. It's important to consider the impact of products and services not just at the point at which we interact with them, but across the resource extraction, production and distribution required before they get to us. Taking a quick look at this diagram, the carbon footprint of products purchased by UK consumers is shown by the bars along the bottom. The segments of each bar represents each industry's contribution to that product. So if we take the example of a smartphone, this product is around 40% metal, 40% plastics and 20% ceramics and resin, comprising many elements that are becoming scarce, are located in conflict zones, and unless recycled metals are used, they must all be mined, and this can mean communities are displaced, biodiversity destroyed, using large amounts of water and fossil fuels in processing and extraction. In the EU, around 211 million smartphones are sold annually. This demand for raw materials, use of harmful chemicals, creation of waste, and production of carbon is putting a significant strain on our environment. Around 72% of a phone's climate impact comes from manufacturing, distribution and disposal. Through consumer demand, we play a significant role, thus it's vital to look at our consumption. It is important to consider our role beyond just buying, as this is one part that doesn't reflect the process prior to our purchase or the impact of what we do after purchase. Consumption is a more encompassing term that refers to the process of acquisition, use, our appreciation, and then as we fall out of love with items, devaluation and disposal. To consider this further, let's take the example of a pair of jeans. Jeans are the second most purchased item of clothing in the UK. The impact of that pair of jeans beyond the volume purchased is that creating a pair of jeans can cause significant pollution to water systems, as most denim is dyed with synthetic indigo, resulting in a number of waste chemicals, some of which are considered hazardous. Denim is made from 100% cotton, which is one of the goods most commonly produced using forced labour. The trend for new jeans that look worn involves sandblasting. This involves firing abrasive sand onto denim under high pressure, often performed without proper ventilation, safety equipment or training, exposing workers to the risk of lung disease caused by dust inhalation. Garment workers who stitch the jeans, again, do so often in exploitative working conditions. It takes approximately 1,800 gallons of water to grow enough cotton to produce one pair of jeans. That is nearly 10 years' worth of one person's recommended drinking water. How we access the jeans can have differing impacts. Did you drive to the shop, take public transport, cycle, walk, or did you order online and use the delivery service? Washing clothes releases 500,000 tonnes of microfibres into the ocean each year, the equivalent of 50 billion plastic bottles. With a new trend in fit, look, length, we may become quickly bored or feel our jeans are dated, especially if we've been tagged on social media wearing the same pair multiple times. The latest must-have item can all too quickly become devalued. For some, the most sustainable thing to do will be to donate the jeans to a charity shop. Charity shops are inundated with donations, and more than 70% of what we donate is shipped overseas, being sold in global second-hand markets. In the UK, we have £10 billion worth of clothing in our wardrobes that is unworn, and we buy more new clothes than anywhere else in Europe, while throwing away over 1 million tonnes of clothing annually. Consumption impacts are significant if you think about this across our food, housing, travel, leisure, health and education. Further, much of this happens within a linear process where resources are continually extracted on a limited planet. We need a circular approach where waste and pollution is designed out, resources are kept in use for longer, and natural systems are regenerated. So what are some of the steps we can take? We can seek to reduce our overall levels of consumption. This may involve questioning if you really need the item. Less is more is accessible to everyone and saves money. Renting, sharing, swapping, or getting an existing item repaired are important in keeping items in use for as long as possible, reducing their overall impact. For example, continuing to actively wear a garment for just 9 months longer could diminish its environmental impacts by 20 to 30%. Or extending the expected life of a smartphone by just 1 year beyond the expected 3 years would save the equivalent of taking over 1 million cars off the roads. Detoxing from devices, social media, and shopping apps can remove temptations to buy. If you do decide to buy or need to buy, you can modify your consumption by buying better quality so it lasts longer and can be repaired and recycled more easily. Buying second-hand doesn't increase demand for raw materials, and the energy and labour of production has already taken place. Buying local and benefiting your local economy. In terms of travel, the carbon footprint of flights increased by 245% between 1990 and 2016. A return flight from London to San Francisco emits more than twice the emissions produced by a family car in a year, and about half of the average carbon footprint of somebody living in the UK. A return flight from London to Berlin emits 3 times the emissions saved from a year of recycling. Switch product, supplier, retailer, and/or brand to that which offers the least impact. For example, research shows that a global switch to a largely plant-based diet against other possible agricultural strategies will offer the largest reduction in emissions from food production. This is a broad topic, and consumption cuts across so many areas of our lives. I hope this provokes discussion, and I do look forward to discussing further.